Greetings. My name is Māhealani Uchiyama, Director of the Center for International Dance. Welcome to Dare, Conversations in the Diaspora. Dare is a production of the African American Mbira Project, an initiative to perpetuate the music and tradition of the Mbira within the African American community. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge that I reside in the Bay Area, a land contemporarily known as Ohlone territory. With Dare, we aspire to explore the music of Zimbabwe and other performance traditions which exist in the diaspora. Our conversations with artists will focus on their art form and their personal journey. Additionally, you will have a chance to ask questions of our guests. That was delightful. This is Hannah Mayree. She is a banjoist, multi-instrumentalist, and vocalist who reminds us of the power found in our relationship to the earth, music, and community. They founded the Black Banjo Reclamation Project, a cultural and land-based revival effort that centers the Black community by reclaiming ancestral wisdom. Hannah, greetings.
Hi, it is so good to be on here with you today and to meet you.
Oh, that was so delightful.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed hearing you play and hearing you sing. And we we have you here because of my curiosity about the banjo and our understanding or misunderstanding of the banjo as a tradition. And really, I just want to launch in and ask you, how would you explain to our audiences what the banjo is and what its significance is to the African American community?
Yeah, it's a great way to just jump right in. It's like, what is the significance to this to us? And I think for me, I really see it as like, it's just for all of us to answer for ourselves, really. Like, it really is, for me, it has been an invitation to explore this, actually, what this relationship is. And for me, I see that as a lifelong journey moving forward, as I think, people like yourself have seen, like, being able to learn about our culture is such a gift. And
Mm.
it's just going to be different gifts that we're all able to bring our gifts through. And I think with the banjo, the significance of it um, is is that it has really deep roots on the continent and with African people, African diasporic people, Black people here on Turtle Island. It's something that is so close to the earth because of the physical instrument being made from the earth that there's just a lot there. There's a wealth that's there that I've really just been loving to explore how that looks in a lot of different ways. Everything from being able to play them, to building them, to writing songs, to just being able to grow the plant materials, and being able to learn skills around even like being with goats and um, just stewarding land and nature in order to make these cultural practice be able to continue actually in our communities, which as essentially they have such a long history, and the more recent history is something that has been really hard because of the trauma that has come, that a lot of people experience still every day. So that's really just, um, I guess, a good starting point is that it's just a instrument that comes, through our own creativity and has been for thousands of years, um, and is still doing so today in our communities.
So the banjo existed in a number of iterations on the West African continent. The knowledge of it was brought here by enslaved people and recreated here in a form that incorporated, as you mentioned, it comes from the earth. They initially would incorporate a gourd covered by skin, used with the strings that are made out of skin and the wood and bar. And that sort of has evolved to what people now associate with the banjo. Yes?
Yes. Yeah. There's a few things that I can show you really quickly, actually, just since you're asking about it. Um, but just to be able to show you a little bit of like what I know that you have your Mbira, and that they're really similar, and that these are basically just constructed and have necks that attach to them instead of having um, the different keys that I think that you all use or that people use for drums, and actually like they really are just drums, and like this part just comes off. This one isn't actually done being constructed, but you can just see, that they just go on and off through the holes. So, yeah, that's a little bit of what's going on here, and I this these were not made from instruments that I was able to cultivate, but that has been a big part of the process too, is just being able to identify that, wow, like these gourds are also part of my culture, and not only for instruments but for so many things. I mean, um, you know, they're very handy, right?
Yeah, and so that gourd banjo style was the actual first banjo on this continent, and it was a replication of what existed in West Africa before enslaved people were brought here and then began building their new instruments. I just want to reiterate that because I think for a lot of people that's kind of news, that the banjo wasn't just invented here in the form that most people see. It was actually an evolution from those initial steps.
Definitely. I think that like that was all that we knew, is like when you're under trauma, it's important that you have tools to be able to heal yourself when you're in the midst of that. And I think that that's, we know how to take care of ourselves. We know how to do that. So I think that people just did what they knew how to do, and that was how to make this. Um, so I think that it's just that it really shows how important that it is for people to create, particularly when they're experiencing very difficult things.
Mhm. And how did you first become interested in banjo?
Well, myself, I am a longtime musician. It's something that does come with my family. Um, and something I'm really grateful to my mother and my aunts and all my family that might even be listening to this. But yeah, to my lineage for having that is something I feel really deeply like that just came from within me. Um, and I was always able to play instruments. I'm super lucky that I was able to have that, and I think that's what has lended for me so much to think, wow, people really need to this why is it that I just feel like my life has been so enriched by music, something that I really want to advocate for people to have, especially in this particular way when you ask people where this come from, not the store necessarily. So yeah, I was able to become exposed to the banjo just through my travels, and I think being a diasporic person who is from California, it's not something that is just around here in the same type of way. And there's a lot of what I've experienced. I think a lot of people have there's a lot of thoughts on it, but being um, a diasporic person in general, but also being um, the, the East Coast is just more of an epicenter. It's closer to the continent altogether, to just between the waters, right? Um, and so just being out there was like what was made it possible for me to have a lot more exposure to the music and to just the instruments, and just being able to see them, being able to see people playing them. It really sparked something inside of me that I was very I was like, I don't know what's going on here, but you know, something is really special about that. And I wasn't coming to it from the perspective of having this full understanding of where this comes from. Um, but like I said, I think it's just important that we trust like how we feel about it, and that we have a drive to make music, and we have the ability to make music that's really relevant for us and for our communities and for our experience, which is something I've really enjoyed doing as a musician. And I played a lot of instruments, did a lot of songwriting on other instruments, and then once I was able to, I learned a lot of banjo before I had one. I didn't get one right away, just because of like the access thing. But when I did get one eventually, I just started to write a lot on those. And like that was what I just wanted to play more and more. And the more and more playing it, um, the more and more that I was sort of exposed to more of what like the public was sort of saying. And it was a lot of things that were really just obviously super racist. If I was like busking somewhere out, if I was at the BART station or something like, or at the beach or whatever, just like there was always a lot of support and also like a lot of really weird comments. And so I just was like, the whole thing started all to make sense more. It just everything started, I guess, just through my own experience. I was just able to download like just what for me was my own understanding of it, and that is related to the entire history of it, um, to be able to go into an understanding of that's just wants to go even deeper as a community than we've ever even gone before, you know. um like having the exposure, having the like having a lot of um cultural understanding and historical understanding of it, and also adding in there with that a lot of like trauma informed programming and ways that the community can explore this, while also acknowledging like this actually brings up a lot of really hard stuff too. So like our healing isn't always easy, but we want to make it we just want to make it something that is really easy for us to do and engage in, because it's been super like just easeful and fun to do a lot of these projects and programming and just a lot of events over the last 3 years. And so we've been based um, out of Oakland here, and I myself am from Sacramento and have been all over Turtle Island playing music and being in different communities, and it's been really good to be here doing that as well. Just do that.
Tell us what is the Black Banjo Reclamation Project? I mean, you were touching on it, but tell us exactly what that is.
Yeah, it is something that I really describe as an ecosystem. Um, really, because it is made of so many natural pieces of our lives already. And the intention of that is to just be able to come together around earth based folk tradition, and we're using the banjo as a vehicle to do that. So that means everything from learning the banjo, listening to the banjo, seeing the banjo, dancing to the banjo, writing to the banjo, to building them, you know, to growing the plant materials that go into that, because this is a reclamation. It's something that you know is something that has taken a lot of work, you know, to be able to be at the point where this is just able to happen in this way, because of just what we were touching on, which, you know, I don't love to talk about how much, like how traumatizing it really can be, when not only has, you know, your culture has these different things that have happened to your ancestors and to you, um, but also to have like musical pieces that have been attempted to be truly stolen and taken away and taken out of the culture, and just like feeling the damage of that um, is a lot, but it's why it's important to create an entire community and ecosystem around what it is to create from that, you know. So that's what I would describe it as, a, you know, a cultural and land-based project that is centering Black people, to be with the traditions that are indigenous to us.
And with regard, so you have alluded to this also earlier, but I just wanted to hone in a little bit on how the banjo has affected you. You talked about the community at large, but you as an artist, how has the banjo, your experience with it, the healing nature of it for you? Share a little bit about that with us, please.
Yeah, totally. Thanks for asking. Um, yeah, I think it has, for me, just been really, really great, because it allows me to um, to sort of see like a holistic picture of what it is that I'm doing and how that relates to the bigger world around me. Because I think a lot of my music is just like my personal expression. You know what I mean? Like I want to, I do that for me. You know, I think it's super important that we be able to be like, you know, there's so many different narratives that have been told to us about what music is and what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be, you know, a vehicle for people to make money. It's a vehicle for all of these different things. And it's like, it has kind of toxified that. So I think bringing it back to something that you're just holding and you're like, I'm here and I'm doing this for me. It's good for me. It keeps me alive. I think that's, excuse me, I think that's super important. So as an artist, just being able to see where it's in, like, self-care includes doing ancestral healing, and like self-care includes like taking the time that you need to create and all of that stuff. So I think for me, it's just given me a way to experience that. um and now it's just something that, it's something that belongs, to you personally, and it's just something that's always good to support in your community. That's how you have stronger communities, is when people have their needs met, and all of these things are like necessary for us to live. So
Wonderful. So, speaking of community and having needs met, here we are. We hope we're at the end of a pandemic. How has COVID affected the project?
um yeah, I think that there's been so much that has and has not happened, and I think it's important to also acknowledge like what hasn't happened, and where there has been like restfulness, and actually like maybe more of an ability to take some steps back, even. um I think our the way that we have been living, like it has been very forcing a lot of things to happen that maybe aren't even like ready to happen. And so of course, like that's an exciting energy too, to be excited about projects and make that happen. So all of that are things that we support. But I think we had a good mix of that during the last year, a good amount of being able to not have the capacity to do this, which is really hard when you're like, this is the thing that's the most important to me, and yet I'm having to work to survive. I can't support myself right now with just my banjo. And actually, like, that's the goal. The goal is that is something that can literally support you eating, drinking, having a house. If you can learn how to make a banjo, you can learn how to make a house. If you can learn how to do those things, that all of these are skill sets. And if you're going to make a banjo, well, let's just be honest, something is going to have to die for you to have that banjo. You are going to have an animal skin that you're using. So you know what? You might as well eat it. Might as well make some, bomb like goat. Like it makes sense, right? Like it's something that we have to come back to nature. And I think that it's just our time. The banjo has been making like these resurgences for the last decade, the last several decades. Right now we're also at a point where we're not just living in the illusion, right? So I don't want to live in an illusion that white people playing the banjo for the last 300 years wasn't racist, when you know the only reason of why these cultures have come together in those ways was because of slavery and because of oppression. This isn't just, it's just not this cute story that people have told about mountain people. And the white community has been really harmed by this narrative too. This is not just harmful to us, it's harmful to everybody. So I think it's just because we're having a reckoning of everything. It's like, exactly, we've been reckoning with this, like it's not new. So it's time, like just it's just that the time has come. It is what it is. And I think it's great to like be able to just move through everything with holding this vision, and just holding it strong, because things are going really well. And even in COVID, you know, we actually were very, very blessed, because we had a plan from the first year that we had the banjo project that we wanted to make banjos, right? Who wouldn't want to make like, you're gonna come to that conclusion, like if you're like, whoa, we should like take all the banjos and like make sure that people just have the banjos that are coming from that. It comes from us. So it's like, that made so much sense for me. Um, but then it was so natural to also want to like go further into that supply chain. To say, we're gonna definitely make sure that we have these banjos. Um, and we wanted to do a build. We ended up being in a position where we thought we were going to be able to do it in 2020 like summer, and it just, whatever happened with creator, they just were like, you're actually going to do this before COVID. Like the month before COVID last year, we were like wearing masks and like doing these woodworking projects like over here in Berkeley. And like, you know, we had like 15 people, so we didn't have, it wasn't even, it just naturally sort of is COVID friendly. Of course, if we would have scheduled it for summer, highly doubt it would have happened. And it just, you know, it was just incredibly fortunate that like spirit allowed that to happen in the way that it did. It just, everything was able to fall into place. Everything from getting massive power tools, having teachers come down, you know, from other states, um, everything just was able to work out. And so for us, because we were able to accomplish such a big feat of having like 15 Black people building banjos over a 10-day period of time, like we like, for me, that's enough. You know, it's like, that was a huge accomplishment. The fact that we like made it so that we just could have that experience. You know, get like being able to gain skills, being able to connect with your ancestors through just knowing the work that had gone into so much of what has been built. Um, so yeah, really, really good stuff. And so I wouldn't say that it was a bad, you know, type of year because of COVID. I would say I'm really grateful for what we were able to accomplish, even despite that, you know.
Beautiful. I'm going to invite you, if you would, please consider to bless us with another song. And I'm also going to invite our audiences to perhaps send in any questions that you might have for our guest this month. And I'm also going to mention that the African American Theater Project and the Center for International Dance we are a nonprofit entity, and we do exist largely, excuse me, out of from the support of our audiences, our students, the people who take in our programming. Hopefully, we'll be going back to live programming very shortly. But please do consider giving us a donation, and also please do consider sending a question. And I'm going to ask Hannah if she's ready to share another song with us.
I'm almost ready. I'm gonna just make sure I'm in the right tuning, because that's actually one of the fun parts about banjos that you might have gotten to experience for yourself. Or I'd love to be able to talk more banjos with you someday as well.
Oh, I think that's a necessity. Absolutely.
And also just really about the gourds and with the Mbira. And you know, I'm very curious about that project as well, and something that I'm super excited that we both have been inspired to like just bring forth, like just something that we all enjoy so much doing, and so many people do. And I've been able to see some really amazing Mbira music in person, and it just affected a lot.
Fabulous. Well, for me as a perpetual student, watching you tune and listening to how you're doing this is really, really informative and interesting to me. Um, you know, um, I know there's a lot of different tunings that this instrument can accommodate. I know just slightly, just slightly more than almost nothing. But I know that. I know that you about the banjo. I know that it can carry a number of different tunings. All right.
I see all this around me, this brown page and see recent of divots, the ditches recede. Moving slowly, I feel you speak. The waves are crashing, please don't take this from me. Now with all this concrete, the earth's storm is bursting to rejuvenate. Lungs fire and dancing, explosion so big. Never had a chance, the world is spinning. Please don't leave me behind. Breathing this evening, the fog is coming. Looking out the clouds, their houses flooding. Breathing among our steps. Songs of silence, voices carrying us all to the their minds reconstructing stories before us, and we'll keep going instead.
Fantastic. Love it, love it, love it, love it.
Thank you.
We do have a question from a member of our audience. This is Lino Piloto. Greetings, Lino. And the question is, Hannah, do you teach the people and children the banjo?
Absolutely. Yeah. Definitely. So right now, one of the things is that the Black Banjo Reclamation Project is kind of constructing like an online way to host classes, workshops, and events, and also lessons. So it's something that we're going to have a little more of a system of doing, where we will have our own platform. It's actually going to be on Mighty Networks. So if you are familiar with that, it's something that we're going to be getting. It's in the process of being built, but yeah, for right now, I'm definitely really interested in like working with people one on one. I have actually worked with a lot of children recently in the last year doing like writing programs, and actually we did a really amazing Black Banjo Reclamation Project series in April, where we had 4 different classes. We were doing a hybrid model, which ended up being live workshop lessons that also had people that were in a live space as well. We weren't able to do like necessarily the recordings of it, but was able to do it hybrid like at the time of it happening. So we've had options like that in the past that we'll have in the future, and people are welcome to reach out to me personally, like especially if you're in the Bay Area or if you want to do something online. So myself, I love to work with like beginner folks. I love to work with people who want to do like singing and songwriting with their banjo. That's something that's great for me. And also, one of the people that we work with the Black Banjo Reclamation Project, his name is Sule Greg Wilson, and he just made a banjo like a tutorial book that is also has videos attached to it that you can actually find at, I think it's funkybanjo.com. So like, I think with banjo, it's great to learn from as many people as you can, because there's a lot of folks that are not a lot, you know, there's not a ton of folks, but there's definitely information out there, and having like some teachers is awesome. Greg, myself, feel free to reach out to us about, you know, whatever it is that you're trying to do. We'd love to support.
Fantastic. Do you have recordings of your music? And
Yeah,
how can we find them?
yeah. So there's currently one album that has been was released. I think it was about 5 years ago. It is on Spotify. It is on Bandcamp, just under my name, Hannah Mayree. And let's see, there's a SoundCloud on there as well. One of the things I'm super excited about is that I've been going a lot more into production and just like creating pieces and being able to record them myself. So that's something that is going to be coming up. Really, yeah, those are the two spaces that you can find that album. And there's also like a YouTube channel where you can find some stuff. But yeah, one thing that's super exciting that I'm getting together all right now, that I'm sort of announcing even right now, is just that I'm going to be launching a Patreon for myself, where it's going to be a lot of more multidisciplinary, like a lot of my work as a writer, work doing, you know, recorded stuff, but there's just going to be a lot of different content that's going to be coming up on my Patreon as well, where like people will kind of have the first look at all of the things that I'm actually working on right now as well.
Awesome. Patreon is such a cool platform, you know, where people can directly support the people that they directly support. So that's really exciting. Um, do you have anything other? What else is coming up for you?
Yeah, so the most exciting thing that is coming up right now for me, and also for the Black Banjo Reclamation Project, is that we are doing a program in Chicago this summer. And we are going to be doing it for 6 weeks. It's very extremely exciting. We have some really amazing partners that are working through the Old Town Folk School, which is located in Chicago. It's like a pretty old, it's like a white institution that a lot of these different folk organizations over the last, you know, several years have been really bringing on some really good like organizers onto their teams to really bring in some of the programming. And I've been working with a reef from there who is coordinating this project to actually happen with a group of students um, this summer. And so they have actually done some builds like this, doing more drum building. But this is going to be the first time that they've ever done this project. It's the launching of this, like, you know, it's this really amazing space. It's going to be amazing people participating. I know. I'm so excited to see um, and feel the energy of the young people who are going to be able to participate in this. So, like, we don't, I don't personally know when the next time we're going to be doing a build in Oakland is. You know, that's definitely in the process. But right now, we're getting ready this summer to do this, coming super soon, and it's going to be like, I'm sure I'll have many amazing stories to tell from that, and a lot of like songs to share from that as well. And so I'm really looking forward to this, like affecting, you know, the future of people being able to just playing banjo and bringing what it is that they bring to that.
That's really amazing. I'm excited, and I look forward to hearing more about how that's going to be coming into the world. Wow, that I'll definitely be looking for that. I just want to really thank you so much for participating in Dare Conversations in the Diaspora. It's been a delight and an honor to work with you. Thank you, Hannah.
Thank you so much. It has been an honor to be here as well. This is, I hope, so many more times to just be able to be blessed by the creations that you bring as well. So
Thank you so much. And I'd like to also thank our viewers for joining us today, and also to those who submitted questions. Dare Conversations in the Diaspora is a program of the Mayree Uchiyama Center for International Dance, a nonprofit organization dedicated to fostering cross-cultural understanding in our community through dance and music. The African American Theater Project is supported in part by the Alliance for California Traditional Arts, the San Francisco Foundation, the City of Berkeley Civic Arts Program, and by generous donors like you. We'd like to encourage you to consider a donation to our nonprofit by following the link on your screen. We will be taking a short hiatus, but soon we'll be back with another episode of Dare, Conversations in the Diaspora. For updates, please follow the African American Theater Project on Facebook. We'll be opening an Instagram page very soon as well. Until then, be well, stay safe, and keep the music in your heart.